In today's recipe, and what you're looking at here is callaloo with saltfish, a wonderful Jamaican dish served for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, very versatile. For breakfast it would be served with what they call food or ground food, which in the other Caribbean islands we call ground provision, like yam, dasheen, cassava, all those wonderful things. Today I'm going to have mine with sweet potato. But this is what we're making today, guys. Callaloo with saltfish, a traditional Jamaican recipe here. Chris here, CaribbeanPot.com. I hope you guys are enjoying the recipes. Remember, click subscribe above to get all the latest videos sent directly to you. And don't forget to leave me your comments below. Here we go, guys. We're gonna put this recipe together very quickly. But hey, it's gonna be packed with flavor and all that good fun Caribbean dishes are known for. Let's quickly run through the ingredients we'll need for making this Jamaican callaloo dish with saltfish. Guys, what I have here is about 1/4 pound of salted fish. I think it's cod or pollock or something. But anyways, it's salted fish. It's dry, preserved in salt, so it's going to be very salty. We've got to work this a bit before we can actually cook that. Here I've got 1 Scotch bonnet pepper. I'm probably going to use about half of that. 1 tomato. I've got some fresh thyme. Probably need about a teaspoon or so of that fresh thyme. About a teaspoon or so of fresh ground black pepper. 1 medium-sized onion. Traditionally, this dish is done with butter or margarine, but I'm going to be using olive oil today. So anywhere from 2 to 3 tablespoons of that olive oil. We'll also need about 1/4 to 1/2 cup of water to steam everything down, to cook it down nice and tender. But over here in the sink, and it's not the best quality because again I'm dealing with imported stuff, time delays and everything else. It's not freshly picked. However, this is the star of the show. This is the callaloo. I'm going to show you guys how to prepare that for making the callaloo dish here. So stay tuned and we'll get to making this wonderful Jamaican dish. I'm sure we've discussed this in the past, but this is the first step for making the for preparing the salted fish. In a deep pan here, I've got a ton of water and I've got it up at a high heat, and I'm going to bring that up to a boil. The salted fish is inside there. We want to bring this up to a boil, allow it to boil for about 15-20 minutes. We're going to dump that water out. Now, depending on the salted fish that you're using, it may require boiling for two times in the same process that we're doing here. However, I find that the one that we get here in North America is not as salty and not as dried or tough. So the 1 bit of water here is going to be enough. However, once this comes to a boil, it's been boiled for about 20 minutes, I'm going to dump that water out and rinse it under cool water just to get rid of any more salt that's in there. We won't be able to get rid of all the salt. This is why in the recipe I won't be adding any salt to this. Near the end, you certainly can test for salt, taste, and see if you require some more salt, but as it is, we're not adding any salt to this dish. Preparing the callaloo dish is fairly simple. All we're going to do is, for instance, let's say we have one of these stalks here with the leaves on it, and there is some wilted ones here, like the pieces, that's all that. We won't be using those. What we want is the nice fresh leaves. So I'm just going to break those off, all the leaves, the nice leaves that is. Keep breaking them off. Like this one here is a bit wilted, so we're probably just going to rip the wilted part off just so we don't waste anything. And all I'm doing is I'm going to rip that out and I'm going to set them aside on my cutting board here. I'm going to keep working this. What I wanted to show you guys with the stems, like for instance, some of the stem is usable, not the big ones like that, but once I get the leaves off this, so let's say we have a nice stem like this, certainly we can use the smaller leaves, but all we're going to do, we're going to peel back on it like this, just to get rid of the outside sort of skin. Just continue peeling on it, and then later on when I show you guys how to chop up the leaves, we're going to chop this up as well, because I mean, let's say we just don't want to waste any of this good stuff here. Just going to peel it back, and there you go. You can see how I'm pulling back on there, and you're getting that stem out. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and work this, get all the leaves out, and I'm gonna show you the next step. I've got all of the beautiful leaves, all of the stems. I've trimmed back the stems. I removed the outer skin off it, and it's been soaking here now in cool water. What I'm gonna do now is drain that water and show you guys how to chop it up and get it ready for cooking. On the chopping board here, what I have is a few of the leaves that I've put together. I'm just gonna give it a nice tight roll, hoping you can see what I'm doing here. And all I'm doing then is chopping maybe about a centimeter or so thickness. I'm just going to go ahead and chop that all the way, even the stems and everything was included in there. I'm then going to dump it into my my drainer here, my colander, the wire basket, because we really want that to drain out for when we're cooking. What I forgot to mention to you guys is this recipe calls for about 2 pounds of the cleaned callaloo leaves. My one worked out for maybe just over a pound, because again I had to toss out all the older or discolored leaves and stuff like that. But that's all we're doing. We're going to chop this up and get it prepped for cooking. The salted fish has now been boiled. I drained that water out and I rinsed it with another batch of cool water. It's all nice and chunky now, so all you want to do is, using your hands, is break it up into flakes, like chunks like this. So all you want to do is just go ahead and make that nice and chunky into pretty much flaky fish. I'm just going to continue doing that until I have it all flaked up, and then we're all set to go. I've got my saucepan here on a medium-high heat, and all I'm going to do is add my olive oil. I'm going to add anywhere from, I'm guessing, about 2 tablespoons of this olive oil there. The pan is nice and hot, maybe a bit too hot, but I'm just going to cool it down a little and then add the onions to it. And allow that, I'm going to turn my heat down to like low, just to allow that onion to soften up a bit. The onions are getting nice and soft now, so up next I'm going to add that fresh thyme as well as the hot pepper to the dish, to the pot. If you're using fresh dry thyme, that is fine as well. You'll just find that I like using fresh ingredients, so fresh thyme is it for me. Then I'm going to hit them with a good dose of that black pepper. Remember, you're looking for about a teaspoon or so. I'm going to continue adding this black pepper, give it a stir, and allow that to soften up for a couple minutes. Everything is nice and soft in there now. So the next step here, excuse me, adding those Scotch bonnet peppers to the hot oil. Be prepared. Open a window, put the fan on your stove top, but be prepared. It will be kind of choking. All I'm going to do now is add all that wonderful shredded callaloo that we prepared. And don't worry, it will pile up, but it will wilt down quite a bit. Once it wilts down, what I'm going to do is give it a good stir at that point, but trying to stir it right now, everything's just going to fall out of my pot here. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it half a cup of water, and then I'm going to put the lid on there and allow that to cook for about 15 minutes on a medium heat. It's been about 15-20 minutes now. I know I said 15 minutes, but I wasn't paying attention to the time all that great, so I'm guessing my one has been cooking for about 18 minutes now on a medium heat. So there's still a little bit of liquid on the bottom. That's cool, because we need to cook this some more. But before we do, we need to add that shredded saltfish to the dish, as well as that chopped up tomato. I'm gonna go ahead and give this a good stir once I'm off the camera here. Give this a good stir, put the lid back on it, and allow it to cook for another 10 to 12 minutes. It's now been 10 minutes since I added the flakes of salted fish as well as the tomato. On the bottom of my pan, I'm still seeing some liquid. So what I'm going to do, and I don't like that liquid, I'm gonna burn that off. So with the lid removed, I'm just gonna turn up my heat a bit. It's probably gonna take about 3 to 4 minutes to burn off that liquid. But after that, we're good to go. The callaloo is all done. The house smells amazing with that addition of the salted codfish. Now, salted cod or any sort of salted fish like pollock or haddock or anything else that they salt, it's something that the scent as well as the taste, you have to be, I mean, I grew up on it, so I like it. I love that stuff. But it's one of those things you got to learn to appreciate, I guess. It took about 4 minutes on a medium-high heat to burn off all that liquid that was on the bottom there. But this is it, guys. It's all done. Jamaican callaloo with salted fish. It is amazing. As I said, I'm going to have mine with some sweet potato. I'm just going to turn that stove off now, but it smells amazing. I just can't wait to dig into this. I'm going to have a good lunch. I'm liking myself today. Chris here at CaribbeanPot.com. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen again, guys. Remember, click subscribe above. Share this with your friends. Thanks.